So, hello everybody. Hi. Let me just wait for this thing to finish setting up. This is the awkward moment. Okay. Let's roll. Okay, so I'm going to unmute Thomas. Welcome, Thomas. Pleasure to have you on here today. I'm James Rink. It is May 13th, 2020. And today we're going to have another exciting discussion about another whistleblower in the secret space program. And I have Tomas Alvin with us today. And Tomas Alvin served 20 years, several 20 years in back missions in the SSP. During this time, he was a super soldier, deep cover military intelligence asset, a private contractor, logistics officer, maintenance officer, and a dark fleet mechanic. Now, this is actually the second time you've been on here. The last time you did go more into the dark fleet mechanic aspect. He was stationed in the Galactic Rim aboard the El Chappo. Also, he's been at the Hyperion Station and the Horizon YNK, which stands for Yozora No Kyushu command carrier. And if I butcher it up, you can complain later. Okay, so hold on a second before I bring you on. Okay, today Tomas will be speaking. Tomas will be speaking about his time as an experimental cyborg who went by the name of Raven. She now lives as a cleric on Mintakka. He also will be sharing about his life as Tanya, who was on the Corvette Class Franklin, which is about the size of the Enterprise D starship on Star Trek. And there she served as a military intelligence officer. We're gonna have to get these surnames, he or she, because obviously it's a little bit of a blur of mine today. But
when I speak about Tanya, I talk about it in the third person because it's really awkward saying I had a nice pair of C cups. So.
Okay, and also Franklin was where Johann Fritz was stationed, and go back maybe back in January. It was an excellent interview that I did with Johann. You should go listen to that. Additionally, Tomas will be making a shocking disclosure about prominent ICC executives who were given cushy jobs on the Fox News night team for their service in the SSP. He's also a graphic artist, and we're going to show some of his artwork in just a bit. And we'll be and he also wants to share about I guess an experience or an event that he did with preventing an attack on the Donald. Without going any further ado, thank you, Tomas. I'm gonna make sure I try to get your name right. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing excellent. It's been a long day today. My live stream interview this morning with Peter Insider didn't go so well when I got cut off in the middle. So that's one of the things about these live streams. They're live. There's not much. In the past, I used to do a lot of heavy post editing, adding a lot of photos. And I just find that although the quality of the work was excellent, I mean, it'd take me like 2 to 3 weeks, and it just started, the workload got too crazy. But now that these live streams allow me an opportunity to bring more people on there, and Zoom has certainly helped out with that, with the workload. But that's why we're doing this to bring about disclosure, and you have some really interesting experiences. So additionally, audience members, if you have any questions for Tomas, go ahead and put them in the chat room. I mean, I guess they probably want to hear a little bit more about you first. So how about we start with I guess yours, because this is actually, maybe we should go back a little bit beginning, how you got your memories. I know this is a review. Let's just spend a little bit of time about review. How did you first realize you were a super soldier or in the SSP?
Well, my earliest cognitive memory from the here.
Is there a way you could speak up a little bit louder? Well, actually, audience members, is he loud enough? Or maybe it's me. It's me. I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's me. Continue.
My earliest cognitive memory from this life was being strapped down to like a metal medical exam bed. There are 3 Asian men wearing surgical masks. And like the it looked like a solid white, like the walls were made out of like fluorescent lights or something. And one of them approached me and shined what looked like a red laser into my right eye. And next thing I experienced was like a quantum leap style zap. And the next thing I knew, I was outside in mid stride at 3 years old with my mother calling for me. And it's like one of those things where to this day, I remember like every little detail from that. And then,
go ahead.
And then when I was in kindergarten, some strange woman walked into my classroom, whispered something to the teacher, pointed me out, and told me to go with her. And so she went and borrowed the school shrink's office and proceeded to do these tests on me. And she did like the Rorschach test, the block test, and then she started doing the Zener ESP test. And about halfway through, something back in my mind just told me I had to flunk this test. So she hold up a card, and I could see right through it. There's a triangle. I'd be like, wavy line. She'd flip it around as a triangle. Sorry. Pull up another card.
Yeah, so I'm going to stop my video when Thomas breaks up a
clearly
bit.
See that it was a circle, and I take their attention. But I retained a lot of technical knowledge. Whenever I was a kid, I see something on a science fiction show, I try to back engineer it. I started drawing like sketches and schematics and stuff. Basically, like, it was until like I heard about Corey Good that I made the connection about the SSP. And my mom knew this guy who was a dentist who used hypnosis on his patients instead of anesthesia. And he put me under and basically said, "You will remember." So the first thing that popped in my mind when I walked out of his office was, that I remember being on a command carrier called the Horizon, and there was an incident on the Hyperion. And it's been a constant drip, drip, drip. Are you still there, James?
Yeah, I had to turn my video off because you were breaking up a bit, but I'll turn it back on and off as we can, as we need it. So all right, thank you for sharing about that. So I guess my next question would be is what age did you come to realize that you were in the SSP? I mean, you've had these experiences all your life, but was there a point when you said, I'm definitely an experiencer, I want to come forward?
Well, like I said, it was about 2015 is when I made the connection with the SSP, and that's when I went to the hypnotist. Before that, I thought the starseed, maybe a time traveler. I couldn't make heads or sense of the flashbacks I kept getting or some of the memories I had. But then like I said, I saw Corey Good, and I was like, that's it. It's the unified theory. It's the one thing that explains everything. And everything that I remembered was confirmed when I met up with my former CO.
All right. Okay. So, why don't you talk? Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So, yeah. That we were referring to Johan. So, that's why I highly recommend everybody listen to that. But so that was that's your CO. But today I want you to go a little bit more into your experiences as a cyborg. So I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully we're not going to lose your video feed, so we can because I got some drawings here as we talk. but go ahead and just tell us more about a Raven.
Yeah, yeah, she was an experimental cyborg, and basically she was designed for maximizing her psionic abilities as well. And like where she came up with the name Raven is she got tired of her handler referring to as her serial number. And she's like, Scary, I deserve a name, and it's like you're a piece of equipment. You don't have a name. It's like, oh yeah? What do you call Project Ravenous Avenger? Just call me Raven for short. And so that's where that but yeah, Raven is the one that got revenge for Tanya's termination. If you see on the ones I sent you in the messenger. Oh yeah, there's Shannon Green, by the way. Get into her later. There's Tanya doing karaoke.
Okay.
You see the one. You see the one. The picture where that's actually a recent event where I made telepathic contact with Raven, and she's like, it was like almost, it's like that's almost, like I said, she's nearly visible, nearly tangible, and that's from like 1,200 light years away. But I made telepathic contact with her, and she physically yanked the power cord from my computer out of the wall.
That's here. That's here in this reality.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how about so is that what Raven looks like, or are we looking?
Without there's Tanya. There's Raven. When I remote viewed her, it's kind of like, yeah, she had like basically a very Spartan looking room, but she had a very terrestrial looking vanity mirror in there. Yeah, there it is. There's yeah, Raven got revenge for on her handler, or Tanya's handler, for terminating her.
Okay, I'm totally. So why don't you? So we know what Raven looks like, with this little cyborg appendages, and I guess
Yeah.
the lower part is all cyborg. This does not look biological. Her legs, anyway.
Well, all four of her limbs are cybernetic, and they have their own intelligence as predictive algorithm, so it knows what she wants to do. That way, it doesn't require any of her brain power to operate them, and all that gets rerouted to her psionic abilities.
All right, and so why does she have a tail?
Well, part of it's part of her power source, and it's also like, one of her built-in weapons.
Is that considered like a status symbol in the SSP to have a tail?
Well, in her case, it's part of her design. One thing, and depending on like in the lower gravity environment, acts as a counterbalance.
I see. Because
And
I know, like,
also, like, there's a person who decided to make telepathic contact with Raven, and Raven just basically superimposed herself over her. So from her perspective, she's like wearing a Raven suit, and so she reached over to feel Raven's tail, and she nearly cut her hand feeling the tail spike. And that, like I said, this is from telepathic contact from 1,200 light years from here.
So astrally, she can use this tail to chop up your energies.
No. Astrally, she could superimpose herself over a person. So it's like not like channeling where the person completely takes over, but like be like the individual that she superimposed with was literally feeling Raven's body on top of hers.
And
And
Thomas.
so she's like feeling her arms, like, oh, this is what a cybernetic arm feels like. And at the same time, when I was remote viewing Raven, she's like, oh, this is what an organic arm feels like. And so she reached over to feel Raven's tail, and she ended up grabbing like the tail spike and nearly cut her hand. So
Uh,
it wasn't like intentional or anything, but yeah, she like reached over and grabs like, oh fuck, that shot, the sucker's sharp.
so you're able to telepathically connect with her, and she can take you, like you could talk to her like right now.
Not clairaudient. But what happened was, like, after this is like when I established contact with Raven, like out of blue, Raven yanked the power cord out of my computer, and I was like, fuck, I thought like my computer died. So I jumped on my bed. Next thing I knew, I Raven jumped on top of me. um and it's like I said, she's nearly tangible, she's nearly visible. um
So when she jumped on top of you, did she look like we're seeing right now, like this?
um I, I have the image of where she was actually on top of me. If you flip through the images, you'll see it.
Uh, was that it? With like she's partially naked and no legs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like I said, I kind of strategically placed the tail to cover up. But yeah, that's basically
And
what it was like.
um, was that a essential experience, or was she just saying hello, or is it a little bit
That
more
was
than?
that was one of the most intense sensual experiences that I can recall.
All right. Well, let's try to keep this show G-rated here. But so is her human part? Is she part? Is she even related to human, or is she something different altogether? Or
Well,
right,
yeah, she is
biological.
related to human. I mean, she's my clone. So
So in order for you to project your consciousness into this clone, it would have to have some of your own DNA. But what other kind of races do you think would be they attached to her?
I'm not sure if they did, but she had a lot of cybernetics done to increase her psionic abilities. I mean, whatever mine are, you can multiply hers by a factor of 100 at least. And that's a good picture of her.
So this
But
is Raven.
she had all kinds of wet wire cybernetics done on her third eye. Um,
That
she could like go toe to toe with an iguanoid.
this is Raven as well,
Yeah.
because over here she's got dreadlocks, and here you show her.
Well, this is when she was in service with the with the Dark Fleet.
But she kind of
That's
looks.
that. This is when that's when I was remote viewing her on Mintakka with the dreadlocks.
So she can change her skin color and appearance.
No, that's just lighting.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, it was. If you go back to where she's sitting at that vanity mirror, um, yeah, you skip back. Nope, other way. There you go. Yeah, like, yeah, that one. Like that was mostly like torchlit, and
are you saying it's very low tech there?
um, it's it's actually high tech. I think because, like I said, she's part of a religious sect, and they might employ like lower tech. But I saw her when I was remote viewing her. She got in a vehicle that looks similar to like a puddle jumper from Stargate Atlantis, except it's a bit stubbier. And it literally like plugged into the side of the building, and the front side of it dematerialized, and um, it became part of the building itself. And there's
Okay.
Tanya. Yeah, there's Raven in cold storage.
That this is her in cold. Okay, that yeah, I see the. So what are all these cords and wires coming out of her?
Um, Feeding her intravenously. You see the one going right into her stomach?
And so is this how she sleeps? Like she doesn't need a bed. She stays. This is her sleep cycle.
Well, no, I mean, awake or asleep. I mean, can't tell the difference. They activated her super luminescent shielding over her eyes, effectively blinding her. She was suspended by spinal clamps.
That's what these clamps are. That's what you call these things around her, spinal clamps.
No, those look be like if you look just behind her, you'll see where she's basically suspended by a cybernetic spine. Um,
Oh, you mean her tail? I see her
uh,
tail behind her.
look closer to her back. I don't know if you quite see it that well in that
Yeah,
image.
I see
Um,
something attached. Okay.
yeah,
That doesn't look too comfortable.
it wasn't. She detested that. And what it was is like the only time, you know, before she escaped, the only time she could enjoy herself when she was at work, quote unquote. So that made her extremely sadistic.
Okay, and you remember these sleep cycle? What this is not a sleep cycle. What would you call this if this is not sleep?
Cold storage.
Okay, and do you remember being in this vessel during cold storage?
I remember absolutely detesting it.
So like, does your consciousness go to some happy place, or you like, does it feel like sleep paralysis where you can't move and you want to get up?
I would say it's more, yeah, closer to sleep paralysis. And you can't move, can't see, you know. Um, but like I said, when she was that made her extremely sadistic when she was put on missions, because that was the only time she was allowed to enjoy herself.
And so this sleep, what do you call it, cold storage, that made her sadistic, being put through this process.
Yeah, because it was either cold when she wasn't on at work, quote unquote. She was put in cold storage when she wasn't in use.
Okay,
So
how
when she was in use, she got as much pleasure out of it as she could.
uh, okay, and how long were you in this body,
Um,
you think?
well, like I said, Raven is still out there. She hasn't, she escaped, um, and claimed asylum on Mintakka, which is part of the which is around one of the stars on Orion's belt. Um, and she ended up converting to their religion.
What is the name of the religion? Do you know?
I don't. Um, I need somebody who's clairaudient. And the problem is, like, when I remote view Raven, I always catch her at some really inopportune times.
Is she aware of your existence here on planet Earth?
Oh yeah, she's definitely, like I said, she when she realized who I was when I was communicating with her through another person, she yanked the cord out of my computer, and
So,
that
okay.
we had that very sensual interlude.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Um, well, because the reason I asked that is because uh, people that have been in the SSP say that they've been told that planet Earth was destroyed in cobalt bomb by aliens, and that's why they have the right to go after and destroy all the aliens. But so she's aware that planet Earth exists, and um, that I guess we need some liberation.
Yeah, but who? I mean, it's not like she can. I mean, she's safe as long as she's like on Mintakka, you know. But the moment she steps off that the planet around that star system, the ICC would probably come after her.
So Mintakka is not an ICC planet.
No, it's part of the Orion system.
What's life like there? Do you remember?
Well, she's you know, making the best of it. I mean, you know, I've seen like glimpses of her. Like, she's a very popular cleric. And I saw her like deliver a sermon one time, and you know, the psionic wave just went over the crowd, but it was like, you know, positive energy. It wasn't like a Draco. Yeah, there's Tanya.
Oh, I thought that was Raven. It kind of. Oh, okay. Well, Tanya. Well, before you jump in for Tanya, let's go over a little bit more of Raven. So, does she have any messages for you? Has she communicate? I guess you said you're not clairaudient. Has it? Have you tried to like remote viewer or get messages from anyone to help you?
Yeah, I have. Like I said, part of it is catching her, remote viewing her is catching her at the right time. Like, a lot of times I remote view her and she's asleep. um so or she's in the middle of like a private ritual sometimes.
Okay, I'm gonna ask some questions in the chat room here. By the way, everybody, thank you for your questions. So, someone commented here. She has a tail like a dragon swinging at worldwide. I don't know. Okay, that's not a question. When you
It's more
say
like a
you're a super
scorpion
soldier, are
tail.
you saying you're like Captain America? I don't know, Jeffrey. That I don't know how that's relevant to what Rafe going on here with Raven. Someone's asking about skin tight suits. Did Raven wear a skin tight suit?
When she was property of the ICC, she did. But she wears more like traditional Mintakkan style clothing. Like that picture of like I said, that the picture of her in front of the vanity mirror is a good example of the way. Yeah,
It
there
almost
you
looks
go.
like traditional African kind of clothing with the cheetah skin fur and or the cheetah.
That's no,
Yeah.
that's a pattern. That's a cloth pattern.
Okay. And she's got looks like a I don't know this claw kind of. I guess that's her. What
Well,
does
it's
that give her
interesting.
super strength?
I've seen her use the claws as a tool of divination. Those are probably,
Divination, as in like
yeah,
fortune telling.
as in, well, drawing in power and redirecting it.
Okay. All right. Next question from the chat. So we got here skin tight. Okay, we get one over that. It's specialized tech. I don't know what it can. Okay. Where does dogmen and werewolves fit into this? I don't Jeffrey, I
They
don't know.
don't.
Yeah, I know why some people I don't know what they're getting. I was okay. You know, I'm not gonna look in it. If you guys don't have any good questions, I'm not gonna go through the chat right now. Okay, so let's move on. Is there anything else you want to share about Raven?
Well, one time she actually paid me a visit. And like I said, like she's nearly tangible, nearly visible when she does that. After that first encounter, like I invited her to tag along with me when I went on the store run. And when I came around the other side of where my building is, she basically like just scaled the wall like it was nothing. And she's kind of joking, like, the only thing she was wearing were her cybernetics, and she's kind of joking, was like, "What? You're the only person who could see me."
So why would they want to create something like this? I mean, I'm sure they used a clone body in a lab and attached this what. Um, so I'm assuming she had a purpose originally
Yeah,
for what?
she was a living weapon.
Okay. So she can breathe outside in space with this tail?
I no, she can't breathe outside in space, but
Hmm.
she can easily impale even like really advanced armor with that.
Oh, I see. All right. And what was the story? Why did she decide? I mean, I guess you can tell as far as why she rebelled and escaped, but what was the series of events that made her want to do that? Or can you tell us the story? But do you know if you know the story of how she escaped and why? The details.
Um, I think one of her missions was to infiltrate the Orion priesthood, which is probably what brought her to Mintakka. I think she was supposed to like assassinate somebody, but when she tried, the person's child like protected herself, and she couldn't bring herself to do it. And then the ICC found out and they tried to deactivate her, and she was like near death when you know she basically begged them for asylum, and it's like the first time anybody's ever shown her any compassion.
Yeah.
So she went then she went native.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to share about Raven?
um let's move on.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. So now we're going into Tanya, who was on the Corvette Class Franklin. Okay, so she is a military intelligence officer, and she's got looks like she was wearing this skin tight suit.
Yeah, it's her, Crewman Shepard, and um I think he was Lieutenant Bailey. I'm not sure, but it's an interesting thing about George Bailey, and I made a picture of him on the Dark Fleet Mechanic page because he's also one of my closest friends in the here and now. And he was
Is that
another
Johan right there?
no, that's Crewman Shepard. There's another person I met in the here and now also.
Oh, okay. And here we go. It's a different angle here. Posing for the camera.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess camo is also used out in the SSP, or maybe, or I guess is this Dark Fleet?
Yeah, it's more like adaptive camo.
Okay, what is that? How would you define that?
Um, it's practically like invisibility. I mean, um, but let's say like you're in a forested area, it would appear like that. But if you go into a desert, it instantly turns to like desert camo.
Aha, so it's got like some kind of chameleon class shape shifting property. Actually, can
Not
they
so much
actually?
shape shifting, more like nanotech style LCDs.
So you're able to see the back side of the front. It projects what's behind you in front of you.
Yeah, it could do that. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. All right. And I guess it has like temperature regulation. So you can be in a planet that's either hot or very cold, be comfortable side. There's probably a
Yeah,
way.
it absorbs like your sweat and probably other bodily fluids.
You probably don't even need to eat because it probably recycles everything and
No, I
like
think they
like
still have
needles.
MRE. I think they still use MREs.
Okay. Okay. And are these people augmented at any way I don't know,
Well,
bones that are
I know Bailey was augmented. He had a couple screws loose. The black guy. Um,
So
Yeah,
what was he known to be, like a little crazy on the field? Like,
he was, yeah, and he was as gay as a $3 bill. And part of the problem is he kept hitting on the other dudes.
okay, so I guess that was more accepted and or encouraged. The line of sexuality is a little bit more blur up there.
Well, part of it is like, I mean, like I said, Bailey is really twitchy, but he's very effective on in combat. So I think that one of the reasons they put up with him, he's also he was like a security officer,
Hmm.
and he's extremely effective. Um, so it's kind of like, okay, we can't stand this guy, but we're going to put up with him.
They should have put him in a female body, take care of that issue, but or maybe they did. Maybe that's why they had these issues. Switching back
I'm
and
not going to
forth.
speculate because he was the same way in the here and now.
Okay, all right. Well, let's change this topic here.
Including,
Yeah.
I think it was part of the augmentation that like a side effect was like the bulging eyes, and that's something that carried through in the here and now.
Ah, I see. And so I'm assuming that all you guys had some kind of eye implant that allowed you to see interdimensionally, um, infrared, spectrum,
Well, I mean,
astrally.
I know right now, like I could see the infrared, not the EMF spectrum, so um, I'm sure that carried through. Uh, yeah. The thing about like I said, if you look in the Dark Fleet mechanic page, I did like an homage to Bailey.
Yeah. Okay. Share my screen. Okay. Here we go. I got the
There he is playing
pictures.
guitar.
Um,
Yeah, do you see the guitar player?
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. He was a flawed hero in both realities. George Twilight Bailey, one of my closest friends, the SSP and in the HNN. What is that HNN?
Here now.
Oh, okay. And is that just is that what it means here now? Is there another meaning to that?
That's what it means.
Okay. All right. So did he actually play aboard the vessel that you were in?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it's funny because one time, because we never fly directly into a nebula, but we flew around the outskirts of one, and it created like these kind of, it interacted with the EMG pulse engines, and it kind of created like these glowing eddies, and we had these like holographic display that would render out all the external sensors into like a three-dimensional image. And one time we decided this is a perfect opportunity for Bailey to plug his guitar into the pulse regulators. And so every time he hit a chord, it would look like a glowing smoke ring will come out of the engines. So he just started jamming on it. And you know how you see like an audio wave? Like that's kind of like what they look like coming out of the back of the ship.
Oh,
I used
okay.
to joke.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
I used to joke with him in Here and Now that he's the reincarnation of Jimi Hendrix. The man was able to shred on a guitar.
Yeah. Well, do you think he would want to come out come out on the show with you?
No, because in I think it was 2011, he got in a fight with some guy and ended up going down the wrong side of an elevator shaft.
So he doesn't want to go on camera because he's like an absolute mess physically.
No, he doesn't want to go on camera because he's dead.
Oh. Oh, okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. All right. Well, okay. Well, RIP. Okay.
That's
So,
yeah.
anything else you want to share about Bailey here?
Well, I remember one time in Here and Now, Like he's also the king of the skateboard. He actually was one of the founding members of the San Francisco Superhero League, believe it or not. But one time, some street kid in Berkeley was spanging, and some yuppie stole their spange cup. So Twilight chases after him on a skateboard, and I saw him doing the Back to the Future thing between several cars. And last thing I saw, they chased the guy going on the interstate. And about an hour later, he brings back the kid's spanging cup. So
Okay, well, let me check the chat room for any questions so far. Let's see here. Okay, do you remember going into battle and who were you fighting against? So
I have some like vague. I don't. It's interesting. I think most of my combat memories are still like suppressed. But yeah, I definitely went on missions. I think one time there was like one of the colonies was having like a domestic terrorist problem, and Fritz was told to send in like a whole unit, and somebody on the bridge crews was like, well, we got 2 augments on board, why don't we just use them? And apparently Tanya and Twilight, he had like these we had like these speakers that were hidden inside the kind of part of the uniform, and apparently we started playing bossa nova. And if you see the image of her flamingo dancing with the mono atomic whips, you could flip through that, James. The pictures, yeah. Not no, from the ones that I sent you in the messenger.
Oh, all right. Flamingo dancer. Are we talking about with this whips?
Yeah. You see, you're like,
so that's Tanya too, and
that's Tanya flamingo dancing with a pair of monatomic whips. And apparently Twilight had a pair of like dual maces, and basically started playing the bossa nova music, like dun 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 dun, and literally like Twilight would be cracking skulls and cha cha cha, like in sync with the music.
So was this like a holodeck?
No, this was like on like a mission, because like normally we take on like pretty special, advanced enemy combat units, but like a group of domestic terrorists is too easy. That's why, like I said, she was flamingo dancing, and he was using a pair of dual maces.
So why would they have you doing flamingo dancing on a mission? Were you undercover trying to infiltrate a
No.
bar?
The reason why is because we made a game out of it. It was like, these guys are just too easy for us. So we turned into a game.
Okay. Well, what did you call this whip thing?
Monoatomic whips.
Why is it called a monoatomic whip? Is it like, does it
Because
hurt?
it's monomolecular. So it's like, a single molecule width. It can slice through any physical matter.
So that's not cutting off her leg right now. It looks like it's touching her leg.
No, it's not. She had very precise wrist control. Let's put it that way.
I would hope so. One wrong move that sliced her foot off. But hey, whatever you guys like to play with, hey?
Yeah.
Okay, there you are again. So what about this suit? This looks like another skin tight suit. What would you describe that as? Like, is this?
That's like a standard like type 1 body armor.
So how come like in the? Go ahead.
Oh, go on.
Well, I was gonna ask, how come in the SSP like you don't see any fat people? Everybody is like skin tight suits, and they absolutely look really buff or really good shape.
Well,
the diet or what?
combination of diet, calisthenics, workout, and probably get pumped full of all kinds of steroids and shit on top of that. She's actually Tanya's actually like a petite pear shape.
And so they clone this body as well.
Well, she's my clone.
Yeah. Do you remember how many years you spent in this vessel?
Well, I know like Tanya did a full 20 and back before she was unceremoniously retired.
So that means she was destroyed.
She was terminated.
So they put her like in a tank, and they.
No, I told you about my earliest cognitive memory of being sent back here.
Okay.
You know, they did like a direct soul transfer and probably disposed of her body. But that caused all, you know, the quantum entanglement from that caused all kinds of like identity crisis for me when I was in my early 20s.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, but why would they want to put you into a female body? Why not a male body?
Well, for one thing, certain psionic abilities are stronger in females. And, you know, I had like a mesomorphic ability, which something that they look for an intelligence asset. Also, when it comes to like spy missions, women are better suited for that.
Okay. So
and there's more often than not, like Tanya would like go off the ship to meet like, you know, go undercover to meet up with contacts. And one of her undercover personas was Jade, who spoke with kind of an upper crust British accent. Well, Tanya had a southern accent, which creeps in when I speak a lot. But her undercover persona spoke with this kind of upper crust British accent. And when the crewman from the Franklin spotted her and tried to engage with her, she's like, and she's trying to play it off like, I don't know who the fuck you are, bug off. And the guy kept persisting. She's like, of all the diseases I would rather catch than speak with you, chlamydia comes to mind. I do remember that conversation. And apparently, when Tanya got back, she basically grabbed the guy and floated him.
Hey, I'm here. I have to press so many buttons because I'm flipping back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of getting her in trouble, I think Captain Fritz basically
You're breaking up a little bit. Thomas, Thomas,
permission retroactively.
Yeah, go back and repeat what you just said, please.
I said, yeah, when she got back aboard the ship, she basically like grabbed the guy by his shirt and basically floated him out of an airlock. And instead of getting in trouble, Fritz basically gave her retroactive permission.
Okay, great. Okay, next question. What kind of weapons did you use?
Probably standard issue. Well, you know, standard issue sidearm, which is like a plasma pistol. She probably used like a plasma-based assault rifle.
I was just looking to see if you have any weapons. Let's see if we can. There's a lot. We can go through a lot of this. Although we did go over some of this in the last. I remember some of this we did. Okay, so I see a weapon here. Is this what you talked about? The plasma pistol?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know that to kill the diamond spiders on Titan. But yeah, so this is one of the humans that live on Mars, and they got this olive color skin. I guess they can breathe the atmosphere.
We could
Mars?
breathe the atmosphere. Well, part of the problem on Mars is that the atmosphere is breathable. There's some parts of it have like less than 10% humidity. And when I was doing my basic training on Mars, we have like these filters in our nose that we're supposed to breathe through, but occasionally you forget and inhale through your mouth. And when I was in high school in PE, all of a sudden my windpipe would just get bone dry. It's because of quantum entanglement that was happening at the same time when I was doing my basic training on Mars in the SSP. Yeah,
Okay.
dry throat is not a terrestrial condition.
Yeah, I remember when I lived on the East Coast here in North Carolina, and I went out to Vegas, and I it took me, I don't think I got used to the dry atmosphere, but that area is not nearly as dry as Mars, at least some
Right.
parts. But yeah, and the other thing I want to comment is that the SSP were trying to relocate these Martians to, I guess, into a space station and take over their lands. Of course, according to Alana. So she talked a little bit about them. She was tasked with relocating them. But okay, well, we already. What's their name? What's the name race of the name of the species? What do they call themselves?
Well, I don't know what they call themselves, but they're pretty much human. I mean,
So they call themselves humans. Humans on Mars. That's it.
whatever the word they have in their language for human.
You
Well,
don't
human is
remember?
a nomenclature. Something people can confuse about is that human is a nomenclature. There are lots of species that are human, different species of human. Um, like Orionites, Vegans, um, Pleiarans, Andromedans, Terusians, all those guys, Lyrans, they're different species of human, you know, um, and humans evolved from hominids, not primates. We're nothing like primates.
Okay, excellent. So let's go over some more of your drawings here. We've gone. I think we pretty much discussed everything. We've gone over, and that's okay. That's when you killed. You want to talk about this when you killed your that was Raven, but I thought you said she rebelled on
Yeah, she got
Mintakka.
revenge. She got revenge for yeah, Felicity was Tanya's handler and was behind creating Raven, and she's the one who's responsible for terminating Tanya. So Raven got revenge on her. It's kind of like
Uh,
her last act of violence before.
well, that's something new. So did Raven actually know Tanya in the service together?
Yeah, I think Raven was aware of Tanya, um, and Tanya would sometimes freak out when she see she go back in the quarters and she see like one of those little information cylinders with a sticky note in her own handwriting. It said, Tanya LaRue, FYEO, for your eyes only.
All right. And yeah, so what about you and your, I mean, if you killed an SSP officer, you would think that it would retire you and all the other, as Tanya, and who else you were as the Dark Fleet mechanic. It would affect your other avatars as well. Correct? Is that
Well, yeah, they're like I said, one of the well, Tanya, like I said, one of her undercover missions went south, and she got captured and interrogated, and that trauma caused like a lot of quantum entanglement between us, between me and her now, and between and Tanya.
all right? Okay, so going into the chat room, we have some more questions. Sean, I'm always skeptical, but I also like to cross reference, and I really think Tomas is got some really interesting experience because it does collaborate at least with Alana, and certainly Johan. Okay, so let's see here. Chad. Okay, no, I'm not going to comment that. Okay, Randy, do you do you have a home on Mars or family? You want to comment about that? Do you have any children out there that you created,
Yep, that
or maybe
that's
they made them in a lab?
well, I've always wondered if my original alter might have fathered a couple of children on Mars. That's a good possibility.
So were you allowed to have a family and a relationship as a female or a male?
Tanya had her flings. Um, I know, like when I was, as a junior high kid in the YNK, I was married to a woman who I also met in Here and Now. That's kind of complicated.
All right. Okay, so next question is Oslan Nasbel was asking about your legs. How did they get amputated? I think they just created her in a lab, and we're referring to Raven. So let me go ahead and pull that up again. Yeah, so Raven.
Well, they actually, she was basically gene edited to be like that. And like I said, the idea, the reason being is like all the brain power that goes to like operating limbs got rerouted into her psionic abilities. And her cybernetic limbs have like a predictive algorithm. Um, so, uh, she doesn't need to use any brain power to operate them.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Mintakka? Do you remember what that planet was like in the Orion system?
It's kind of like it's a desert planet. That's why, like, whenever I watch Star Wars or Dune, I I totally like have to rewatch the scenes on Tatooine because it reminds me a lot of Mintakka. Um, uh, it's basically like a war rap. Mintakka took the brunt of the Orion Wars, and even though that was like 10,000 years ago, they're still recovering. And thing about people on a war ravaged planet is the last thing they want is more war. And I've seen like one thing when I remote viewed Raven, she was like basically performing like a C-section on one of the animals there, which was about the size and color of the body. Looked like an elephant, but the head was like almost like a pug camel, like a pug-faced camel. And I think the mother was dead or something, but she took one of her claws and sliced open a section of it and pulled like a living baby creature out.
Okay, hey, you should draw that, and we can see that maybe in a future video. But let's go look at some more of your drawings. Actually, these I wouldn't call them drawings. These are, I guess you buy the artwork and you edit it to look like this. Is that how you make
Yeah.
these?
Well, what I suspect with the 3D art community
Yeah.
is a lot of them are either they were in the SSP and they actively remember it or subconscious. But like, that's like that's basically like a command carrier similar to the patent, and it's basically like docked to the Hyperion Station. And you can
And
see the size of the starship. It's almost as big as the space station. And
how big are we looking at here?
um, well, that's a command carrier, so it's like 20 miles long.
So that would probably have 2,000 people on it.
Close to
10,000.
like more like a 500,000.
Oh, they really just pack them all in, or unless it's bigger on the inside than the outside.
Well, the on the Horizon, the cargo hold was like that.
Is it so? It's
It
bigger
had
on
like a
the inside.
basement.
Is it bigger on the inside than the outside?
The storage rooms on the cargo hold on the Horizon were like that. These like basement universes.
Okay. And so
No,
all
it's
this.
not something to
Good.
pack them in. I mean, that's how big the fucker is. It's 20 miles long. You can easily house like 250,000 people, maybe 500,000. And so,
So,
and
oh, good.
room to breathe.
Yeah, but all these people, I mean, they would have had to come from planet Earth, right? As in 20-year backs.
That or like on breakaway colonies.
Okay.
And let's not
And
forget like how many like clones and temporal duplicates you'd have on there too.
yeah, well, how many vessels like this are there out there in the universe? Like maybe, how about the space station, the Hyperion? How many stations are like this big? That
I'm not the person to ask that. As far as command carriers, it probably wouldn't have that many. I think the patent was actually either like Joint Defense Command Force or Nachtwaffen. But yeah, the Horizon was about that size, except it was more rectangular shape.
Okay. Well, let's move on here. So we looked at Bailey here. Okay, so this is a comics strip here you made here. What
Yeah,
are we looking at? What is this?
you gotta back it. I think it's in the wrong direction. So forward
Where do
it.
you want? Keep going.
Next. What the hell? Hold on.
We did the hybrid. I remember doing this one a lot in the last. This was October 20.
Hold on. Let me see the thumbnail. X out of there for a second.
I see. Okay. How far back? You want me to start here?
Start. Yeah, that one right there.
All right. January 21st. Okay, so we got she's starting to wake up. Me, where am I? Why do I feel this way? Those are your hormones. You'll adjust. So this is what? Is this you as what, Tanya or Raven?
First waking up as Tanya.
Okay. And then it says lead or
charger real quick. Where the hell is it?
oh, you need a charger? Okay, yeah, hurry up and get your charger. Okay. Then he says, I guess it looks like a doctor is saying, leave the bedside manner to me, okay? And then I'm assuming you say, don't worry, doc, your job is done. And what a fantastic job you did. Then we see a guy in a suit saying, you served Sol. I'm assuming that means this solar system with honor and distinction. Is that correct? SOL? Yeah. Okay. With honor, distinction, but you've been repurposed. Why waste a perfectly valuable mesomorph on a logistics officer? What is a mesomorph?
I could pretty much like within a couple minutes of, or actually almost instantly, I'll pick up somebody's accent, somebody, their personality, pick up their accent, their mannerisms. Basically making blend in just about any crowd. Which is very useful for an intelligence asset.
I'm totally lost. What exactly is a mesomorph as an intelligent officer?
It's a psionic ability. Basically, I absorb somebody's personality.
Okay. Do you think those abilities crossed over to you as Tomas?
Yeah, definitely. When I was in high school, it sometimes caused trouble with the black students. Because in 5 minutes, yo, what's up, bud?
Okay, let's move on here. Okay, show her. It's a really small image here. I'm trying to look. I wish I could zoom into this, but okay.
Click on that.
Well, if I do, it just goes to the next. Oh, great. Maybe if I save, I'm going to save this and then we can try. I'm
all right.
Try to make things easier for the listeners here. By the way, thank you, listeners, for your patience. I'm know how attention's pens can be here on YouTube with so much content and so much information vying for your time, but I really think this is important. So now we can show her holding up some kind of tube.
He's holding up a mirror.
Oh, okay. Okay, so then you're crying here. What have you done to me? So what, is this when you first realize you're a woman?
Well, you wake up from a cloning tube, and because it's like basically the fluid inside the tube is the same temperature as human blood. All of a sudden, you get literally flushed out of it, and it's freezing cold. You're in pain, physical pain. The light is extremely bright because your eyes are brand new, and that's the first time you're being used.
Okay, so let's move on to next. Is this number 2? 2 days later?
Yeah.
Okay. 2 days later, I'm gorgeous. So you're really stepping into your new body here. God damn. Would y'all look at that there butt? I bet y'all could crush a Akon between their cheeks. Okay. And he says, so I guess, I'm glad you're talking to your body so well. We can't let you leave. I don't know. Is that your handler? The one
Yeah.
was killed? Or
Yeah. Read what she says. Like,
okay, y'all, if you would let me out of this playa place, want to
yes.
see if my awful new curvaceous body will cause traffic accidents. Ah, for shit's sake. It done took me 2 days to relearn how to walk. Now that there center of center of my gravity. Oh, center of my gravity is my generous hips. And they give her makeup too, or did makeup come like genetically engineered in the face?
No, they give her makeup, but yeah, it's like you gotta relearn how to walk, basically. Like,
Okay. We reconstructed you to serve as an intel asset, not as a flirt. Yeah, you rewired my brain, ta. Parleur comme que. Oh.
parlez-vous con Cajun pour qui?
So they programmed you to speak multiple languages?
Well, she's supposed, they try to make her like a Cajun because they rewired the language centers in her brain, but it ended up being a Houston accent instead.
Well, it ain't okay. This had better be worth the cost. And you say, well, it ain't important. Y'all done gave me the power of pussy, and you do think y'all thought that there. I'm trying to. Maybe you should be reading this. Okay.
She
All
got
right.
it perfect.
Okay, so now where are we at here? This is out. Okay, the next.
That's the first. Oh, that's actually the first place page.
Oh, so
Kind of reverse order.
I messed up.
Yeah, you messed up.
Sorry. Well, we'll start from the beginning at the end. Okay, I have to hand it to you. Oh wait, I feel like we just done this. Oh, I guess maybe I just looked at. Okay, soul transfer is complete, and we have healthy vitals. So that's the computer. That's what you see on the screen. Okay. You'd think it'd be more holographic looking than the screen, but this is your.
Well, it's isomorphic projection. Same idea.
Okay. All right. Hey, so what we got here? Will she remember anything? He was a skilled technician and had advanced combat training. And somebody's saying selective memory engram transfers can be real tricky in the cloning process, especially with an altered clone. The only thing we altered are the chromosomes and the sexual orientation and the age. He was 35, and now you've just transferred his soul into an 18-year-old female clone. She should thank me. So I guess you thank them by rebelling, and Tanya came to untimely demise eventually.
No, that's a lot more complicated and convoluted with what happened to Tanya.
Well, are you going to tell us, or do I have to pry it out of you?
I
We want to know, how did she come to her end? They just threw in a tank and said it's time to go back.
basically her handler Felicity was like I
Because
actually there's another individual probably more
you're breaking
detail
up.
about that of
You're breaking up.
how that happened. There were some accusations. Oh, I am. All right,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Go ahead. Now you're fine.
better.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, basically there were some like accusations and shit floating around. But certain people wanted her out of the way because she knew too much. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. I was just sorry. I was just in the chat room here, just looking at some of the comments. Someone says here. Oh wow. There's a lot. It's just there's a lot of comments in here. Okay, I'm just trying to find one here that's actually worthwhile to talk about. Okay, is Thomas claiming they did this to him? I certainly think he is, but I would think it's a bit more of a claim because these are, I mean, these are more than just a dream or some kind of fantasy, because I mean these are actual memories. You remember being there for years, right? Correct.
Yeah. And I actually have I have to dig around and find it, but I actually have a picture of Tanya when I was quantum entangled with her. See if I can find it. Hold on.
Yeah, some people are commenting about the sex differences. I mean, who are we to say what they can do? I mean, if they can shoot you up with DNA, convert you into another alien race, why not be able to change your sex?
Well, they just changed. I mean, it's a clone. The only thing they changed really was the chromosomes.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, I'm not a geneticist here, so I'm going to take your word on they can do that. Where are you? What's going on?
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
I had to unplug my mouse to plug my computer in.
that's fine.
Or
Okay, so
pull the phone in. So turn the.
someone was asking, did you meet a well-known person who is on Mars or another planet in here also?
Oh, we're gonna get into that. Remember I told you about the Foxy's night team.
Okay, so is that where you want? Oh, well, I'm gonna let you find your picture there. Good.
You know what? I'm just gonna do a search for it.
Someone was asking, what does the normal super soldier load? I don't know. Load out. I think someone's asking about the uniform. What does your uniform look like? I mean, we already know it was the camo. What other? How about? Can you describe what a typical officer Dark Fleet uniform looked like when you were not in combat? Like the colors.
It looks similar to like an Imperial officer's uniform from Star Wars. Hey James, if you don't mind holding on for a second, I gotta answer nature's call.
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
yeah, I'll take over. Okay.
All right.
So excellent. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I guess I'll share my screen here. Thanks everybody for your patience. Let me pull this up because we can go over some of Tomas, still not getting that name right. Apologize, Tomas. Yeah, so some of these we showed in the last interview that we did. So looks like some kind of sonic shower scenario, but we'll need to get him to comment about that. Apparently those sonic showers, they do use a little bit of water, but they clean you a lot better than what we got here. So that's new technology when the technology releases come out. Okay, so I got some holographic camouflage. Okay, next one here. Here, yeah. So somebody is suiciding themselves. I guess I know Thomas talked a little bit about the Japanese aspect of this. Were a lot of your officers Japanese, Thomas? Because you said you worked for
I'm
the
back.
Japanese version.
Yeah,
Welcome back.
yeah. In the YNK was predominantly Asian. Well, they had a lot of people. I mean, yeah, that was run by the Japanese. And because you know how like with the Dark Fleet, like a lot of it is based on your genetics. And my maternal grandmother is Hungarian, so literally there's like a drop of Asian blood, but that was, enough to put me in with the YNK.
Okay. All right. Okay. So where are we at? What you said you wanted to show an image, or you want me to keep?
I can't find it right now, which is
Okay.
irritating.
Well, you want to explain what this is? This holographic shower movement. What happened here?
Oh yeah, that's when Tanya decided like the way to come on board the Franklin was to sneak on board by using a holographic projection uh, as like a male spacer, and she didn't realize that she thought, okay, I was make an excuse, go in the shower, and then turn off the holographic projection, and no one would be the wiser. But apparently, the guards were standing outside, and all of a sudden, the water kind of interfered with the shower or with the holographic, and that's when she had that oh shit moment, and basically ended up getting in an altercation with the two security guards, beat the shit out of them. Two more came in. The 4-on-1 fight. They beat the shit out of her, dragged her in restraints, buck naked, all blooded up, soaking wet, dragged her by her restraints onto the bridge. And this is put this way, that was like the worst first impression for the first day on a job, probably in Dark Fleet history.
Sorry to hear that. So, was that because you didn't do enough training about
Oh
how to
no,
use that tech?
no is more like one of the harebrained schemes that well, I could put in the here and now that I'm pretty notorious for, so it makes sense. Basically, her being another version of me would come up with the same kind of harebrained schemes.
Okay. All right. Let's move on here. I guess you want to talk about these. We've already talked about these hybrids before. I remember seeing this in the past. Maybe you recently uploaded this. I think because you've already gone to that in the other video, I don't want to necessarily repeat the same thing.
Okay.
But okay, so this, I guess, is more dark. This is like a battle from Dark Fleet. Is this something to happen in your memories that you want to talk about?
It's actually the junk belt from that's flying through the junk belt in the rim. Remember the last time I told you about that? How because of the combination of gravitic and like electrothermic currents that run through the galaxy, the Galactic Rim is basically like the Pacific Gyre, and everything eventually ends up there. Yeah.
Huh. That would make a lot of sense. So I guess it'd be a lot of salvage operations.
Yeah, there's
okay.
a lot of
All right.
salvage operations.
And here's another perspective. Okay. So we got some colorful looking, I guess these are more cyborgs.
No, those are chemiluminescent chimeras. Some genetic experiment. And if you flip through those images,
they're glowing.
Yeah, they're chemiluminescent.
Why would they create these creatures?
Because they can.
I mean, do they have any, I hate to use the word, purpose, use, or is it just for?
I just remember that was one of the genetic experiments that they were working on.
Okay, and they had any kind of special enhanced abilities?
They glow in the dark.
Okay, and they're
And
very colorful.
they're adapted for like a lighter gravity. Uh, like I said, like lighter gravity environments, like the tail acts as a counterbalance.
Okay. All right, moving on here. Oh, we need to do that. Let's talk about the Fox News.
Yeah,
We need. So we got right here is Shannon Stewart. She's an ICC exec. So let's see her on
Shannon
Fox.
Bream.
Shannon. So that's so she goes Shannon Green, or is that was
Yeah,
her name in the SSP?
that's who she is now. Shannon Stewart is who she was, and as far as I know, that could either be her maiden name or she got married to somebody else in the ICC.
You mean Shannon? Oh, Bream, not Green. Okay, I got you. That's what I was wondering. It didn't sound. Oh, she's talking about Thanksgiving. So that's her there.
Yeah, she was the head of PR for the ICC,
Hmm.
and yeah,
Okay.
like, and then you got Tucker Carlson, and
Okay.
he was a direct liaison from the triumvirate to the ICC board of
There he is
directors.
right there. So so
And you know,
tell me
so
more about him. What did you say? I'm sorry, I wasn't paid. He was a director of the ICC. What?
no, he was a liaison directly from the triumvirate to the board of ICC executives. And if you notice, like, you know, compared to any other mainstream news network, Tucker Carlson's really walks the razor's edge as far as revealing stuff. Um, I had that one video where he's talking about the secret space program, basically. Um, but
Do you think he recalls his memory in the SSP?
I don't think any. I'm gonna basically assume that none of them do. Um, and here's the thing for anybody in the audience who's new at this: these are not the same people that you see now. Okay, Laura Montgomery killed an accountant in cold blood, not Laura Ingram. All right, so imagine like the mirror universe of these guys. So yeah, Laura Ingram, and it's spelled Ingraham.
So that's another one.
Yeah, Laura, and then like I said, it's spelled Ingraham.
Ingraham. Okay. Let's see what we got. There she is right there. The whole truth about Laura Ingraham. And I don't know. Maybe they're trying to make fun of her here, but okay. So you're.
No, go back. Look at Ingram Angle. Search that. There
Oh,
she is. Yeah. Now, she yeah. Skip forward till you see her. There she is. Now, yeah, in the ICC, she was Laura Montgomery, and she was basically head of legal affairs. Basically, you've heard of like type of lawyer you describe as a shark. um, Now, apparently, one time she wanted the head of financial affairs to meet with her in person, and instead he sent his lackey, and she had like her like personal security detail, and she basically motioned one of the guys, handed her his sidearm, and she shot the guy basically like square between the eyes, about 4 feet away, and from what I understand, she shouted something like, "This negotiation is over."
you. How do you know that? Were you there with them? when this happened?
That was like the rumor that was going around when I was in the Hyperion Station.
Oh, well, you know how rumors go. They're probably somebody's exaggerating all that, but it's probably based on truth.
Knowing her reputation in the ICC, it's not much of an exaggeration.
So she killed her this other business partner that she disagreed with because of what?
No, she apparently she demanded the head of financial affairs meet with her in person, and he sent her his lackey instead, and she shot the lackey in cold blood.
I mean, you would think that there would be punishment for that kind of insubordination in the SSP.
She wasn't being insubordinate. It was like she demanded that the guy meet her in person, and he sent his lackey instead. So she made an example out of him. And all right, let's see, Sean Hannity.
All right. There he is. Okay. So him too, huh?
Yeah, he was in charge of the civilian colonies.
So
he was basically a slumlord.
Are we talking MCC, Mars Colony Corporation, or was it LLC?
All of them. All of them. He was in charge of all the colony housing, and it's an interesting thing about Sean Hannity is every so often you see him on TV, he'll brag about his combat skills, either his weapons training or his hand-to-hand. He might remember something.
Well, he's got a Punisher tag on here. It looks like CIA. I can't tell what this other lapel is. But so you think he's basically, I mean, he was dirty in the SSP pretty much, or is he just playing a role like most?
No, I think like at a subconscious level he remembers some of it. Like I said, I don't want to put words in any mouth just in case somebody tweets this video to any of you. I don't want you to be liable for anything. So I'm going to assume that they don't remember any of it.
Well, they're public figures. We can talk about them. Although maybe in this regard, they're not public about this.
I remember, like I said, I worked maintenance on the Hyperion Station, and Shannon Stewart in particular was paranoid about her office being bugged. She always had me like looking for hidden devices, and one time inside a light fixture, I found a little BB-sized camera, and I showed it to her, and she's like, "Hannity!" And she turns to me and is like, "Get out!"
I was trying to pull another one, Shannon Bream, but okay. All right, so we got 4 people here. Okay. Well, so what about you? Were you ever offered a job at Fox News?
No, I was never offered a job at Fox News. Like I said, I was a maintenance guy in the Hyperion Station. These are like high-level executives that had offices there. If anything, Eileen mentioned being on that, and I know she was like a civilian scientist and MD, and from what I understand, she had a very pleasant bedside manner. But if she did any kind of presentations or something, it would be at the Hyperion Station.
Hey, okay. Yeah. I was just checking the chat room if anybody has any questions. Actually, I see a few in here. How about somebody's comment? Busy day for you, James. Thank you. You're welcome, Bill. Moving on here. Did you meet a well-known person who is on Mars, another planet? Oh, I think we already asked that question. Okay, let me go down here. Sorry. Some of the comments here. I think Trump is a starseed. That's been going. Yeah.
I have some story to tell about Trump.
Yeah, why don't you go into that?
Well, About maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I tried to remote view Donald Trump. Instead, I found myself inside the Pentagon mainframe, and I was granted access. And I met Donald Trump's avatar, which is basically like a backup copy of his consciousness. And when I was seeing him, it looked almost like it was inside of like a cave with what looked like tree roots coming down, except there's like a dull blue glowing circuitry pattern on them. And Donald Trump himself had this brilliant golden color glowing circuit in a full three-piece suit. But first I saw him, he's in the fetal position, and then he slowly rose up, extended his hand to me and smiled. And that's kind of like, okay, I know you're not the bad guy. And that thank you for confirming that. So about a year ago, you know, I found myself uncontrollably remote viewing. Like all of a sudden my hand went like this, and I physically couldn't move it. And I saw almost as clear as day Donald Trump coming down the stairs of either the Merle Federal Building or the Supreme Court Building, and he was flanked by his Secret Service detail on either side. And I had this sinking feeling like, why am I seeing this? Oh God, oh no, not the president. Oh no. And all of a sudden I saw like get shot right in the chest. Like, boom, right then. It's almost like time froze. And this like heads up display type thing just overlaid over my vision. And I zoomed in, and almost like time was in reverse, I started tracking the bullet back to its source. And I saw this guy was disguised as a police officer. He was in a squad car in the front passenger side holding a 50 caliber sniper rifle. And then I zoomed out, and next thing I saw was the entire front passenger side explode. It's like a pure kinetic explosion. And then visually I moved up to the roof of adjacent building. There were like half a dozen men basically dressed like in black ninja outfits, basically with the full ski mask, all locking and loading assault weapons. And all of a sudden, like almost like time froze. I zoomed in on one guy, head exploded, panned around three-dimensionally, zoomed in on another guy, his head exploded. And basically, one by one, I was taking all these guys out, and then visually zoomed out, and in normal timer zoom, I saw 6 headless bodies just hit the ground. And next thing I know, I basically was snapped out of that.
So Thomas, do you think that was like a holographic training program or an alternate
No, that
reality?
was real. That was real, because that happened like 2 days before my birthday. And on my birthday, I saw this video on YouTube about supposedly like they uncovered like the largest terrorist plot in U.S. history. They're gonna these terrorists are supposedly gonna blow up a whole bunch of buildings in D.C., which would have been their cover story had the attempt succeeded. And I showed that to the other SSP admins, and then like literally an hour later, that video was taken off of YouTube.
Oh, wow. All right. Yeah, wow. So, okay, question from the audience. Okay, is Trump using that's not related to, actually, I wanted to ask a question about, so how, about the cloning process. So did they actually clone another version of Donald Trump after, I suppose, what happened to him?
I would suppose so, because they had his consciousness, like they have a copy of his consciousness, a backup copy in the heart of the Pentagon mainframe.
So he would have to be an oversoul to be able to occupy it, the clone body. is typically lesser souls are usually don't attach to the clones. So, from my understanding,
Well, it's more
maybe I'm
like
wrong on
Donald
that, but
Trump's insurance policy.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Someone was asking, is this from a parallel timeline? And what do you think, Thomas? Tomas, do you think this is a parallel timeline?
No, this is from this timeline. That's like that's like CIA level, like psionic. And like I said, I was just suddenly activated. So maybe whoever my handlers are, whether it's the NSA or the CIA, they basically let me out to the Secret Service. Your guess is as good as mine, but
Yeah. And there's a cloning facility under Camp David, and is that called Raven Rock? I'm trying to remember, but yeah, they have presidential cloning facilities, but usually in the past when they would, like, for instance, when they changed out President Carter, the clone was total, it was like a robotoid and was totally programmed and controlled. So hopefully yeah, the original, the white, hopefully the White Knights or whoever, I guess DIA.
well, Nancy Pelosi has an android. They didn't replace her, but I think one time they used an android instead of the real one for a press conference. And I recorded that video. You can kind of like, you look at any like modern android, she's moving exactly like it. You know, also the way she's talking, you know, like I said, that was definitely like an android version of Nancy Pelosi for that one specific press conference.
All right. Okay, so we don't really have any more questions in the chat room that I really think are relevant. I mean, somebody was asking about, is Trump using super soldiers on this timeline? I think that's a question better related to Peter the Insider. Unless
Put
you
it
want to
this way, Trump declassified Solar Warden with the Space Force.
So they actually, would you consider it, so they merged Solar Warden as like it's a division now, or basically Space Force is a division of Solar Warden, is what you're saying?
I'm saying is Space Force is the declassification of Solar Warden.
So you think the technologies, I mean, because now, I mean, they're showing rocket ships, but that's not what they use in the SSP, obviously.
No,
So
no.
we're gonna see
But
more technology come out soon.
I've said this before, like they're disclosing it in some of the silliest ways. Like, for example, anti-gravity speakers.
Though at the speak, oh yeah, the levitating speakers. So that would,
Yeah.
but that's like little magnets. That's not too.
It's rudimentary anti-gravity. It's basic anti-gravity. It's about, you know, probably as much as you can get with like AC current. But it's anti-gravity. It's, you know, it's rudimentary because it's all based on electromagnetics.
Tomas, someone was asking, do you have a YouTube channel?
I do.
Is there anything on it like worthwhile to watch?
Yeah, actually, aside from calling bullshit on Morg, there's me and Johan have like a really good discussion.
Yeah, someone was asking about the Space Force guy found. I was gonna put that on my channel. I'll share my screen here. Give me a moment, folks. 21st Space Wing Commander found dead in his home, but that probably is code word for he's probably in the SSP now. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
They have, if they have technology to Solar Warden, that would be the regen tanks, the cloning labs. So he's not dead.
And they probably found his dead clone.
I see. So they want people to think he's dead, but wonder why. I guess we need to bring somebody else in, because I know you're not necessarily a seer.
Well, what was that? What was that guy's background?
Let's see here. So he is a colonel and chief of space operations of the 21st Space Wing in Colorado Springs. So he was a graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy. He served at the U.S. Embassy in Iraq as joint staff and on joint staff at the Pentagon. He worked at Peterson Air Force Base, an executive officer to the commander at Air Force Space Command and Joint Force Space Component Command. He commanded Preston Air Force Base and Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station and supported four other
Joint Force. Was it? I forgot. Was it JDFC? Joint Defense Force Command is what the called Dark Fleet within the service.
Who? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying. I should have listened. What were you? Who is part of Dark Fleet? Which one of these? Space is a Space Command.
I said Joint Force Defense Command is what we call the American branch of Dark Fleet.
Huh. So there's almost been like a joint venture with the Air Force. They do have access to some of these programs. So probably,
like I said, so the guy probably has like a flawless service record.
It says he died of natural causes, and there are no indication it was COVID.
Yeah, natural causes.
He naturally fell asleep and died, right?
Well, it's what happens when you clone somebody's body without anybody in there.
I see. So there's no soul, so it doesn't reanimate.
Exactly. You just clone, an empty shell.
Okay. Okay, going back in the chat. What's the name of his channel? I'm gonna have to post the link, unless you know it off the top of your head.
Tomas Corvette is my YouTube channel.
Okay, we'll have to put a link on there for you, for the listeners. Do you know anything about rescue operations from dumps?
I know what you know.
Okay, understood. Does Elon Musk listen to this, or how do we know, Pearl? You have to ask him. Bill wants. Okay, no, that's not okay. Randy wants to ask: are many top military commanders from here on Mars and in the SSP? So I guess
well, some of them do 20 and backs. I mean, like I did a poll in the SSP group, and asked like who served in the terrestrial military and who didn't, and roughly a third of people served in both. So especially like some of the higher ranking ones would probably make it back and end up climbing the chain of command.
All right. Okay, next question. Time travel. The time travel guy that tried to become president. I don't know what you're talking about, Derek.
Yeah, the guy I know who I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head, but yeah, this guy's claims he's a time travel, and then he ran for president on a third party ticket, which best of luck at that.
Okay. Next question. This here, Elon Musk is cyborg. Apparently he is, according to Peter Insider. That doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing, but certainly means he would.
Anybody with a prosthetic limb or pacemaker technically is a cyborg.
Well, there you have it. Okay. Hillary Clinton, a clone, ? Facts. I mean, they have there's a cloning facility under Ida, Oklahoma, where they made a lot of these presidential models as well. But I heard a lot of those facilities were destroyed, but it's not all gone away because a lot of us are still being abducted in the secret space program.
Well, like Hillary Clinton, like during was it the 2016 September 11th, like when she basically collapsed. She had like a neurological break. She's been seen having several neurological breakdowns, and that tends to happen like you know, some of that could be like replicative failing, which
Uh,
means they lost the original source code and they're cloning a clone. Problem is the clone keeps breaking down. I have to clone a new one.
yeah, yeah, and chances are she's probably already in Gitmo. So if there is a clone of her, I almost think what I've been hearing is that that it's a double that's living out her life right now, and
Yeah,
she's
it could be
probably not.
that. I mean, you could tell like androids. You could tell by the way they move and speech patterns.
Oh yeah, well let's move on here to the next question. Somebody was commenting about John Titor, the time traveler. What, I don't know, interesting story about him. So there's a guy on the internet who's going around. Actually, hold on a second. Let me show you just a second. Because I bought his book, but I'll tell you what. Disclosed. John, have you seen this one?
I know about John Titor from the Coast to Coast interviews.
Yeah. So I reached out to this guy. You know what? I probably should not be talking. You know, I'm not going to say it. All I'm going to say is Alana and myself, we've under the conclusion this guy is probably he's probably is a clone, but you know what? I'm gonna stop there. I don't want to say anything that
Well,
like say anything
I'll put it this way:
about
like,
other people.
let's assume he's legit. The timeline that he came from has already been averted.
Yeah, so the story, the information, it's not necessarily applicable for us, but I mean, we still can learn from alternate realities and
Yeah.
experiences. This one talks about a reality where 4 nukes fell initially, and then it was a nuclear war. But I don't. You're yawning there, so I'm thinking we're gonna probably call it a night here.
No, I'm fine, dude. Don't worry about me.
Sure.
I'll just make.
Maybe I
I'll
gotta
make
throw
some
some
coffee.
coffee on. I'll throw some coffee on.
Yeah.
Okay, so how has the election of Trump and the rise of the White Hats affected the SSP?
Um. Shit, I could only guess. I mean, there. Well, it's more like throw it reverse. There was like, you know, revolt going on within the SSP that might have opened the door for Trump to be elected.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Like,
I'm trying
I
to
mean,
pass
I
out my
was in
butt
this
here.
from like basically like the early 90s to like the 2010s roughly. You know, that's when my 20 and backs were being done. Um and said Raven kind of being an exception, and she escaped. And you know, like I said, she's living as a cleric on in the Orion system.
All right, so to answer your question about Trump, we had Andrew Basaggio on here about maybe 2 months ago,
Oh yeah.
and what we were getting is that the original organic timeline showed that Obama. First of all, let's back up. Obama was selected by Lincoln Clay, who's like one of the head of the super soldier army here on planet Earth, and he was chosen to help usher in the new, I guess, all this technology and releases the SSP. So as soon as he got elected, he reversed his role, and some say he was. We think, or at least Andrew thinks, that he was under contract with the CIA to not talk about disclosure, but he was supposed. And so what was going to happen is that when he was supposed to tell us that we know there are bases on Mars. There are, the SSP is real. And then Andrew Basaggio was supposed to be our president right now. So what happened is when Obama turned on his role, it created this alternate timeline where now what we got is like a quantum computer in the future, a supercomputer which is analyzing all the timelines and is trying to find the most positive trajectory. So it has selected Trump to be our president, and that's where the QAnon phenomenon comes in, because QAnon, in my opinion, I think there's a lot more to it, but from the information, it's not just in my opinion, but the information that's relayed to me, it appears to be this quantum supercomputer in the future that is working with certain people within the SSP, military personnel that are trying to bring about the most positive timeline. They selected Trump to usher in, and one of the first steps they needed was, first of all, they had to get rid of McCain, no name McCain, because he was working with Hillary Clinton in the Clinton Foundation. Then they were trying to get they got Space Force, and now the last step is they want to get the new U.S. Treasury dollar, and they've secured $100 trillion at least. There's a lot more. And then they're going to bring about the new prosperity programs. All that's going to be coming up soon, along with the disclosures of the SSP.
Well,
Go
a
ahead,
question I would have
yeah.
for Andrew Sagio next time you see him is he aware that? Now you think about John Brennan, right? The head of the CIA was converted to Wahhabist Islam. Peter Strzok, okay, another convert. And you know, that's when all the Islamophobia and shit, like hate speech laws, started coming into place under Obama. Now, so if anything, because we know the source of the black goo is the black stone in the heart of Mecca, so put 2 + 2 together.
Yeah, certainly. This was a Centauri stone, I think is but
yeah.
Okay, so and that's another thing too, is a lot of the officers in the Dark Fleet had to take the black goo. Was that you? Did you have to do that?
No, in fact, the mission that Tanya was on is the Lyrans discovered an antidote for the black goo, so she was sent undercover to retrieve it. Call it shit timing, but she infiltrated the Lion aristocracy, and somebody decided that was the time to pull a coup d'etat, and there was a Mexican standoff, and Tanya got captured, raped and tortured by Black Draco, and then she was extracted by Fritz, and she managed to retrieve, basically it was like a gas that neutralized the black goo, and that's when they started installing the stuff on all the JDF JDFC ships to basically weed out anybody who's infected by the black goo.
And that's what we call the Alliance, the DDF.
Yeah.
What does that stand for? DDF.
Joint Defense Command Force, I believe that's what it's called.
That's what you just talked about earlier with that guy that died. Okay.
Also, like, what happens when somebody's exposed to this gas, if they're black goo infected, their body will start purging it. But because it become dependent on the shit, it kills them, which is what happened to Max Spears.
Hmm.
You know, so, like he knows, like when he died, his body started purging all this black goo that was coming out of him.
All right. So I'm not going to disagree with that. That certainly sounds a lot more plausible than we're being told right now about Max. But okay, so well, I mean, we're approaching the 2-hour mark, so I think, and then we've gone through all the questions. Here's one more question. Hey, you guys, want to know something? I never believed in super soldiers seeing the movie. Oh, never mind. Okay, forget that. In the meantime, everybody, I think we're going to conclude here. Unless, is there anything else that we you wanted to go over?
Is there anything we haven't covered on the list?
Well, that's all I had. So you wanted to go over as being the female officers, and then you talk about, we've already gone over the Fox News. You showed some of your drawings, unless there's some more drawings you have. Yeah.
All right. So
okay.
Next time.
Okay, so at this point, let me go ahead. Be sure to, let's see here. Actually, guys, hold on. Okay, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Visit supersoldiertalk.com. I know I'm backlogged and trying to get interviews up. Got a bunch of stuff of Peter's, the Insider. I got to get on here, but yeah, I'm going to get Tomas up here soon. Be sure to visit my website. I've got my book on here. You can go. I'll sign it for you if you want to sign. I mean, it's up to you. Go visit my website, Neological Tech, and also get a meditation cube to support the work I do. And I've got a nonprofit you can donate to it. I'm going to set up a page for that, so it's a little bit easier. So everybody bear with me on that. And yeah, thank you for participating. Thank you, listeners. And I'm going to stop sharing. So let's just check the chat room. Any more comments? All right, great. It seems everybody, somebody says thank you, Tomas and James. Yeah, thanks to you both. All right, well, I'll see you till next time. We'll bring you on maybe, I don't know, maybe another year from now or so, because it's been a year and a half since you've been on here.
Next time. Let's do some more regular.
Yeah, we'll get some more artwork, because yeah, that was fascinating. All right, but we'll see y'all later.
Cool.
See you, everybody. Bye.